What if the very thing you're fearing right now is the key to your greatest breakthrough? What if your deepest pain is not a punishment, but a preparation for something far greater than you imagined? Are you living by your purpose, or are you being driven by your fear? How much of your life is built on belief and how much on doubt? What's one action you've been avoiding that could transform everything? Is your persistence fueled by vision or drained by frustration? What if your fear, the one that keeps you awake at night, the one you try to silence with distraction, is actually your calling in disguise? We often run from what intimidates us, not realizing that fear is not always a warning of danger. Sometimes it's a signpost, a guide. Fear only exists in proportion to the size of the growth you're being called into. It shakes you not to stop you, but to wake you up, because whatever it is that scares you holds the seed of your next level. You don't fear what doesn't matter. You fear what could change you, and that's exactly why you must face it. And what if your pain isn't a punishment, but a process? We've been taught that breaking means breaking down, but what if breaking is a form of building? When life breaks you, it breaks the old patterns, the lies, the limitations, the illusions. It breaks the shallow to build the solid. It's in your breaking moments that your real foundation is laid. Pain carves space, and in that space something sacred begins to grow. Character, clarity, confidence, and a vision that was impossible to see through comfort. Transformation isn't born in ease, it's born in struggle. You want success? Then understand this. Success doesn't arrive wrapped in comfort. It comes in challenges, setbacks, rejections, and long nights where you question if you're even enough. That's not failure. That's the furnace where greatness is forged. Every belief you hold is either building your future or burying it. You can't afford to live on autopilot. You can't afford to feed the voice that says, maybe I'm not ready. Because belief is the soil, action is the seed, and persistence is the water. You can't grow if you don't plant, and you can't harvest if you don't endure. Some people wait for confidence to act, but here's the truth. Confidence is born after action, not before. And if you want growth, you must be willing to go where it's uncomfortable. To ask, what version of me must die so the real me can be born? So many people chase success, yet ignore purpose. But purpose is the engine. Purpose gives your persistence power. Without purpose, success is empty. And the moment it gets hard, you quit. But when you're aligned with why you're doing what you're doing, no failure can stop you. You don't give up. Whatever's breaking you right now, trust this. It's building something bigger. You may not see it yet, but that's how transformation works. First, it shatters your certainty. Then it invites your surrender. Then, if you stay the course, it introduces you to your strength. This is your time. You were never meant to live stuck. You were designed for expansion, for truth, for purpose-driven success. And that version of you that you dream about, they're already inside. But they only show up when you stop running, when you believe, when you act, when you persist, when you refuse to let fear write your story. So rise. It's not breaking you, it's building something bigger. And the world is waiting for the version of you that refuses to give up. What if the very thing you're fearing right now is the key to your greatest breakthrough? It's a question that may seem counterintuitive, but it's one worth reflecting on deeply. Fear is often seen as an enemy, something to avoid at all costs. We live in a society that promotes comfort, stability, and certainty as the highest values, yet true growth and transformation rarely come from these things. The most significant breakthroughs in life are born in moments of discomfort, challenge, and even fear. It's through confronting what scares us that we open the door to new possibilities. Consider this. Fear, in its essence, is a sign that we are being stretched beyond our current limitations. It is an emotional response that signals we are on the edge of something bigger than what we have known so far. When we fear something, it's often because it represents a change, a shift, or a challenge that our current self doesn't feel ready for. It is the unknown, and our natural instinct is to retreat into what is familiar and safe. But what if, instead of running from fear, we leaned into it? What if we took it as a clue that we are on the cusp of something life-changing? Fear has an incredible ability to push us toward growth. When we face our fears head-on, we develop resilience, courage, and a deeper understanding of who we truly are. The key is not to avoid the fear, but to acknowledge it and act in spite of it. The moment you choose to move forward, even with fear in tow, you unlock a new level of strength within yourself. It's in these moments of action, when you step into the unknown, that you begin to see the breakthrough you have been waiting for. Fear often keeps us stuck in a cycle of hesitation, doubt, and inaction. The more we avoid it, the stronger it becomes. But when we choose to face fear, it loses its grip on us. The act of confronting what scares us diminishes its power and allows us to see it for what it truly is, a catalyst for change. Each time you face a fear, you gain confidence, not just in your ability to handle the situation, but in your ability to navigate life itself. You start to realize that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. Let's break this down even further. Imagine a major opportunity in your life. Perhaps it's a new career path, a creative project, or a relationship that you are considering pursuing. There's a good chance that the very thought of this opportunity stirs up fear. You fear failure, rejection, or simply the unknown. But if you listen closely to that fear, it's telling you something important. This opportunity challenges you to grow, to step into a new version of yourself. Your current self may not yet possess all the skills or confidence required to succeed in this new venture, but the fear is simply a signal that you're about to undergo a transformation. The discomfort you feel is the first sign that growth is on the horizon. Breaking through fear requires action. It's not enough to acknowledge the fear. You must take deliberate steps to move forward. It's not about eliminating fear, but about developing the courage to act in spite of it. Every small step you take, even with fear present, is a step toward breaking through. The more you do this, the less power fear has over you. And eventually, what once scared you becomes a stepping stone toward your success. The breakthrough you seek is on the other side of your fear. It's waiting for you to realize that fear is not a barrier, but a gateway. When you choose to move forward despite your fear, you signal to yourself that you are ready to grow, to transform, and to embrace the unknown. Fear doesn't stop you. It helps you evolve into the person you need to be to achieve your greatest dreams. So the next time fear shows up, don't back away from it. Embrace it. For it is the very thing that holds the key to your greatest breakthrough. What if your deepest pain is not a punishment, but a preparation for something far greater than you imagined? This idea challenges everything we've been conditioned to believe about suffering. Pain is often viewed as a punishment, something we must endure with gritted teeth until it passes. But what if pain wasn't just something to endure? What if it was instead an essential part of your journey towards something bigger, something more meaningful than you've ever dreamed? Pain has a transformative power that we often fail to recognize in the midst of it. When we go through difficult times, whether it's the loss of something or someone, a failure, or emotional turmoil, we tend to feel like we are being punished by life. We ask ourselves, why me? Or what did I do to deserve this? These thoughts only amplify the hurt and leave us feeling stuck in despair. But if we change the way we look at pain, we may begin to see it as something far more valuable. Pain, at its core, is a signal that something within us is being reshaped. It is like the process of refining a precious metal. When the metal is subjected to extreme heat, it appears to be destroyed. But what is really happening is that the impurities are being burned away, leaving behind a pure, stronger version of the metal. Our pain works in much the same way. It burns away our old beliefs, our insecurities, and the limitations we've carried with us for years. While it may feel excruciating, this purification process is essential for growth and transformation. Consider the idea that the pain you are experiencing right now is not happening to you, but for you. It is preparing you for the next chapter of your life. Pain pushes us to confront our deepest fears, to face our weaknesses, and to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about ourselves. It forces us to grow, to expand our capacity for resilience, and to understand the depths of our own strength. In the end, it is through overcoming pain that we discover who we truly are and what we are truly capable of. The question then becomes, what would happen if you viewed pain as a gift? What if, instead of resisting it, you allowed it to guide you towards something greater? Every difficult experience carries with it an invitation to grow. The relationships that test you, the setbacks that frustrate you, the losses that break your heart, these are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are signs that you are being prepared for something you could not have handled before. Life in its wisdom knows that you need to be shaped, to be molded into the person who can step into that next level of success, happiness, or fulfillment. When we are in the midst of pain, it's easy to forget that this discomfort will eventually lead to something profound. But looking back, many people realize that their greatest breakthroughs, their most significant transformations, came only after they faced their deepest pain. The painful experiences that once seemed unbearable are often seen later as the moments that made them who they are. The lessons learned, the strength discovered, and the perspective gained are often priceless gifts that wouldn't have been possible without the pain. It's important to remember that pain is not permanent. It ebbs and flows, and it eventually passes. What remains is the wisdom and strength you've gained from walking through it. You will emerge from the fire not broken, but remade. You will be more capable, more resilient, and more prepared to handle the challenges that come your way. Your pain will not define you. It will refine you. So, instead of viewing your deepest pain as something to be avoided, consider the possibility that it is preparing you for the life you were meant to live. It is chiseling away at the parts of you that need to go, so the real you can emerge. Embrace the pain, for it is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your guide, and your preparation for something far greater than you imagine. Are you living by your purpose? Or are you being driven by your fear? This is a profound question, one that invites deep reflection about the way we approach life and make decisions. At the heart of this question is a powerful distinction between two forces, purpose and fear. On one hand, living with purpose provides direction, fulfillment, and alignment with our highest self. On the other hand, living driven by fear often leads to choices rooted in limitation, avoidance, and disconnection from our true desires. Purpose is something deeply personal. It's the core reason behind everything we do, the why that drives our actions and decisions. When we live with purpose, we are aligned with our values, our passions, and the vision we have for our lives. Purpose gives us clarity and confidence. It's the compass that guides us through life's uncertainties and challenges. When we wake up each day with a clear sense of purpose, we know exactly where we are going and why. Even in moments of struggle or adversity, purpose fuels our determination to keep going because we understand that our struggles are part of a greater journey towards something meaningful. In contrast, fear is often a force that leads us away from our purpose. Fear is an emotion that arises when we face the unknown, when we step out of our comfort zones, or when we are presented with a situation that challenges our sense of safety and security. It is a natural response. But when we allow fear to dominate our choices, we end up making decisions based on avoidance and self-protection rather than growth and opportunity. Fear can make us doubt ourselves, second-guess our abilities, and hold back from pursuing what we truly want. It keeps us in a state of inertia, preventing us from taking risks, trying new things, or stepping into the unknown. The problem is that when we are driven by fear, we often miss out on the opportunities that could lead to our greatest growth. Fear causes us to settle for what is safe, familiar, and comfortable, even if it means sacrificing our dreams and potential. It keeps us in a cycle of playing small, where we avoid challenges and limit our own possibilities. When fear is in control, we live in reaction rather than in proactive pursuit of what we truly desire. We may think we are making choices to protect ourselves, but in reality, we are often sabotaging our own happiness and fulfillment. Living by purpose, on the other hand, requires courage. It means stepping into the unknown, facing our fears head-on, and making decisions that align with our deepest values, even when they feel uncomfortable or uncertain. Living with purpose asks us to trust ourselves and the journey, even when we cannot see the full picture. It's about making choices that are in alignment with the person we aspire to be, rather than making choices based on fear of what might go wrong. Living by purpose also involves a willingness to take risks. Purpose doesn't promise a smooth and easy path. It promises fulfillment and a sense of direction, even in the face of challenges. When we live by purpose, we embrace the discomfort and uncertainty that comes with growth. We learn to see failure not as something to fear, but as a stepping stone to success. We become resilient, and we begin to understand that every step we take toward our purpose, no matter how small or difficult, brings us closer to who we are meant to become. The choice is ultimately yours. Are you going to let fear dictate your life and decisions, or are you going to live in alignment with your purpose? It may not always be easy to tell the difference, especially when fear is so deeply ingrained in our instincts. But by constantly checking in with ourselves, asking, am I making this choice out of fear or out of purpose? We can start to shift our mindset and make more intentional purpose. The key is to recognize that fear doesn't need to control us. We have the power to acknowledge it, face it, and then choose to live with purpose anyway. In the end, living by purpose leads to a life of fulfillment, growth, and transformation. It's a life where we can look back and know that we have followed the path that was meant for us, not the one dictated by fear. So ask yourself, are you living by your purpose, or are you being driven by your fear? The choice is yours, and it's the most powerful one you'll ever make. How much of your life is built on belief, and how much on doubt? This question speaks to the foundation upon which we construct our lives and the choices we make. Belief and doubt are two powerful forces that shape every aspect of our existence. What we believe to be true about ourselves, others, and the world directly influences the way we live, the risks we take, and the dreams we pursue. But equally important is understanding the role that doubt plays in our lives and how it often holds us back from achieving our fullest potential. Belief is the driving force behind every accomplishment. It's the quiet confidence that tells you that no matter what challenges lie ahead, you have the ability to face them. Belief shapes the decisions you make, the goals you set, and the way you view your own potential. When you believe in yourself and your abilities, you step into the world with confidence. You take action even when the path isn't clear, because you trust that you have what it takes to succeed. Belief opens doors and creates opportunities, because when you believe in yourself, you become unstoppable. Belief is not just about having a positive mindset. It's about trusting the process of life and having faith that everything is unfolding as it should. This deep-rooted belief helps you navigate setbacks and challenges with resilience, because you know that failure is not a reflection of your worth. but a stepping stone on the way to success. Belief fuels persistence. It's the force that pushes you to keep going when everything seems uncertain, knowing that the results will come as long as you stay true to your vision. However, belief is not always easy to maintain. Life has a way of throwing obstacles and challenges that can shake even the most confident individual. This is where doubt comes in. Doubt creeps in when we question our abilities, when we fear that we are not enough, or when we wonder if our dreams are too big to achieve. It is the voice that whispers, "You can't do this," or "What if you fail?" Doubt often arises when we encounter uncertainty or when we push beyond our comfort zone. It's a natural part of the human experience, but it can be paralyzing if we let it take control. Doubt often leads to inaction. It causes us to second-guess our decisions, hesitate when opportunities arise, and ultimately settle for a life that's less than what we're capable of. The more we doubt, the more we hold ourselves back. We might wait for the perfect moment to take a step forward, but in doing so, we miss countless opportunities that could change our lives. Doubt can also distort our perception of reality. It makes us focus on the worst-case scenario and overlook the possibilities of success. When we are consumed by doubt, we begin to believe that our dreams are out of reach, and that leads us to settle for mediocrity instead of pursuing greatness. So, how much of your life is built on belief and how much on doubt? It's easy to fall into the trap of letting doubt take over, especially when we face challenges or when things don't go as planned. But the key is to recognize doubt as a temporary feeling, not a permanent truth. While doubt will always be a part of the journey, it does not have to define it. The power lies in how we respond to doubt. Do we let it control our actions, or do we choose to push forward in spite of it, guided by our belief in ourselves? The most successful individuals don't eliminate doubt, they learn to manage it. They acknowledge it, but they do not let it dictate their decisions. Instead, they choose to act from a place of belief. Even when the fear of failure looms large, they understand that belief is what fuels progress and that doubt is simply a challenge to be faced along the way. If you want to create a life of purpose and fulfillment, the balance between belief and doubt is crucial. Examine the areas of your life where doubt has taken root and ask yourself how you can replace that doubt with belief. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth, the more you choose to act from belief, the more you will see your potential unfold in ways you never imagined. Belief is the foundation upon which your dreams can be built. If only you are willing to trust in yourself, even when doubt tries to cloud your vision. What's one action you've been avoiding that could transform everything? This is a question that cuts deep because it forces us to confront the things we've been putting off, the challenges we've been avoiding, and the discomforts we've been unwilling to face. It's easy to get caught up in day-to-day tasks and distractions, but deep down we often know there is one action, one bold step that could radically shift the trajectory of our lives. Whether it's taking a risk, making a decision, having an uncomfortable conversation, or stepping outside of our comfort zone. Avoiding that action only keeps us stagnant. The reason we avoid certain actions is often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown can create a mental barrier that prevents us from taking the steps we know are necessary for growth. We tell ourselves that we'll do it later, that the timing isn't right, or that we're not ready yet. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. There will always be uncertainty, doubt, and fear. And if we continue to wait for conditions to align perfectly, we will remain stuck. The thing is, growth doesn't happen in the absence of fear. Growth happens when we act in spite of fear, when we face the discomfort head-on and choose to move forward anyway. There is a certain power that comes with taking action in the face of fear. It signals to yourself and the world that you are committed to your growth, no matter how challenging it may seem. That one action, whether big or small, has the potential to open up doors you never thought possible. Take, for example, the act of speaking up for yourself. Many of us avoid difficult conversations, whether it's confronting someone in our personal life or standing up for what we believe in at work. We fear the discomfort that comes with conflict, or we worry about how others will perceive us. But avoiding these conversations only perpetuates the feeling of being unheard, misunderstood, or stuck in situations that don't align with our values. By stepping into that uncomfortable space and voicing our truth, we open the door to clarity, understanding, and the potential for change. Or consider the action of taking a risk in your career or business. Whether it's starting that project you've been dreaming about, applying for a job you think you're not qualified for, or launching a new venture, fear of failure can hold you back. But the truth is, every successful person has faced fear and uncertainty. They didn't wait for perfection. They took action, learned from their mistakes, and grew through the process. The one action you've been avoiding could be the catalyst that unlocks your true potential and sets you on a path to success. Another example could be making the decision to invest in yourself. Whether that's pursuing further education, hiring a coach, or dedicating time to your personal development. Often we put these things off because of financial concerns, fear of failure, or a belief that we're not worthy of the investment. But the truth is, the more you invest in yourself, the more you expand your capacity for growth, success, and happiness. By taking that one step, whether it's signing up for that course, attending that workshop, or hiring that mentor, you signal to yourself that you are worthy of your own time, energy, and resources. And that kind of self-belief is what leads to transformation. Avoiding that one action also keeps us stuck in a state of indecision, which in itself is a form of paralysis. The longer we delay, the more we convince ourselves that we are not capable of taking that step. But the reality is that the longer we avoid, the more it becomes a cycle. Fear grows, and the action we need to take becomes more daunting. The key to breaking this cycle is taking that first step. No matter how small, small action leads to another, and before long you'll realize that what once felt impossible is now within your reach. So, think about it. What's the one action you've been avoiding that could change everything? The answer is often clear, but the fear of discomfort or failure holds us back. The truth is that action is the very thing that will help you grow, transform, and move toward the life you've always wanted. Taking that first step may be uncomfortable, but it will lead you to places you never imagined. The transformation you seek is just one bold action away. The question is, are you willing to take it? Is your persistence fueled by vision or drained by frustration? This question calls us to reflect on the underlying motivations that drive our persistence in life. Persistence is often seen as the key to success, the trait that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up along the way. But the fuel behind that persistence matters. Are you continuing forward because you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve? Or are you simply pushing through because you're frustrated, feeling stuck, or afraid of failure? When persistence is fueled by vision, it becomes a powerful force. Vision is the mental image of what you want to achieve. It's the dream, the goal, the reason you keep going even when things get difficult. When your persistence is driven by vision, every obstacle becomes a challenge to overcome, not a reason to quit. You understand that setbacks are part of the journey and that the destination is worth the effort. Your vision keeps you aligned, focused, and motivated. It gives you the clarity and strength to press on, no matter how tough the road may seem. Vision provides a sense of purpose. It connects you to the bigger picture, reminding you of why you started in the first place. It is what gets you out of bed in the morning, what keeps you moving through the tough days, and what helps you see opportunities in the midst of challenges. With a strong vision, every step you take feels like progress, even when things are not going as planned. You trust the process because you know where you're heading. This type of persistence is energizing as it comes from a place of passion and purpose, not mere obligation or fear. On the other hand, when persistence is driven by frustration, it can become draining. Frustration arises when things don't go as expected. You might feel like you're putting in effort without seeing results, or you may find yourself stuck in a loop of trying harder without making progress. This feeling of being stuck or overwhelmed often leads to burnout. Rather than being motivated by a clear, inspiring vision, you're simply pushing forward because you feel like you have to. The end result seems distant or unclear, and every setback feels like a sign that you're failing. Frustration-driven persistence leads to exhaustion. It can make you question whether it's all worth it, or if you should just give up. The pressure mounts, and what was once a clear goal becomes a distant, elusive idea that feels harder to reach with each passing day. Instead of feeling energized and excited about your journey, you begin to feel resentful and disconnected. The frustration comes from a lack of clarity or progress, and as it mounts, it chips away at your enthusiasm and willpower. The problem with frustration as a motivator is that it doesn't provide the same sustaining power as vision. Vision is uplifting. It lifts you higher even when circumstances are tough. Frustration, on the other hand, is exhausting. It makes you focus on everything that's going wrong rather than what could go right. Frustration narrows your perspective and makes everything feel like an obstacle. In those moments, it's easy to forget why you started, or what's waiting for you on the other side of the struggle. The key to sustaining persistence is to reconnect with your vision. If frustration has drained your motivation, it's time to take a step back and remind yourself why you started. Reassess your goals, realign your actions with your values, and reconnect with the deeper purpose behind your efforts. Sometimes, all it takes is a shift in perspective to turn frustration into fuel. If you can see your challenges as part of a larger, meaningful journey, frustration becomes a natural byproduct of growth, not something that holds you back. Remember, persistence fueled by vision is powerful because it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step forward, even through difficulties, is part of your larger story. Persistence driven by frustration, however, can feel like a never-ending cycle of trying harder without getting anywhere. The trick is to keep your eyes on the vision, adjust your approach when necessary, and find ways to stay energized. With vision as your fuel, persistence becomes an unstoppable force that propels you toward your goals, no matter how long the road. In conclusion, the way we approach persistence is what ultimately determines our success and growth. When fueled by a clear, inspiring vision, persistence becomes a powerful driving force that propels us forward, even in the face of challenges. A vision gives us purpose, clarity, and the motivation to keep going, making every obstacle seem like a stepping stone towards something greater. It aligns our actions with our deepest values and helps us remain focused on the bigger picture, no matter how tough the journey may get. On the other hand, when persistence is driven by frustration, it becomes draining and overwhelming. Frustration often leads to burnout and discouragement as it focuses on what is not working rather than what could work. It narrows our perspective and makes progress feel distant and unattainable. Frustration-based persistence can lead to exhaustion and make us question whether it's worth continuing as the connection to our original purpose fades. The key to sustaining persistence lies in reconnecting with our vision. When frustration creeps in, it's essential to remind ourselves why we started in the first place. Adjust our approach and stay grounded in the larger purpose. Vision fuels resilience while frustration can hinder it. By cultivating a vision-driven persistence, we can transform challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and ultimately continue on our journey toward meaningful success. The choice is ours. Do we let frustration drain our motivation, or do we let our vision ignite our persistence and drive us toward our true potential? The difference between these two paths determines the impact we will have on our own lives and the world around us.